So in last lecture we all had started with the biostatistic, and we had discussed that biostatistic is having a very good future scope, and you can apply the knowledge of the biostatistic into the various field. And we have discussed the basic terms utilized into the biostatistic, like we have population. It is area, or you can say the object on which we are doing the study, like Indian population and all. Sample, actually we had already discussed all this basic concept in detail. If you want to see, you can go and watch that particular video. Now I will just give you the meaning. So what do you mean by sample? A object or a set of from the study is taken for doing the research. Then we have learned the variables. The variables are the property which we are going to learn from the population, and the variable which cannot be quantified, that means qualitative variable like singing and all. So that will be called as the attribute. Then we have discussed about the data. I told you data is of two type: primary data, which you have collected, and secondary data, which you are obtaining from the others' research, like magazine, newspaper, article, and all. We have already discussed about the scope of the biotechnology, like biotechnology have scope in the various field. Like you can say it is having the scope in pharmaceuticals, it is having the scope into the research, it is having scope. See, biostatistic is exactly what it is, related to the various collection and systematization of the knowledge. So where do we require all these things? We require to systematize or calculate the knowledge in all the field. Whether we are learning the science, our subject is not statistic, but we have knowledge of the biostatistic can be applied into the almost all field. Like you can say when we are doing the comparative studies. Okay, so comparative study, that particular time, maybe you are doing the comparative study of the physiology or anatomy, whatever. So that particular time, the knowledge of the biotechnology help into the highest level of the significance, which lead into achievement of the scientific conclusion. Like it is useful to calculate correlation between two variable, type of diet in relation to growth and development. You can calculate the lifestyle in relation to occurrence of the diabetes, then hypertension. So all these variables that can be when we are applying the knowledge of the biostatistic in that particular field, so that time it becomes very easy to compare. You cannot simply say that this particular diet is causing the hypertension, this particular diet is responsible for doing the diabetes. So when we have calculated all this thing, that when we are eating so and so thing, it is affecting in this manner, it is enriching the blood glucose with so and so person. So all these things will be helping to find out the relation between the disease and the habit. Then in pharmacy also, biostatistic is having a very great scope, like understanding the action of drug administered to animal under study, or to observe the related changes whatever happened because of giving that particular drug to human. Like suppose one vaccine is been designed, okay, and that vaccine is administered to the human, so they must have the count और द डेटा दैट सो many human are been vaccinated. जैसे कि आप लोग देखेंगे कि nowadays we have the vaccine card. Okay, we immediately after getting the vaccine we are getting a certificate, and thereafter we are getting the card. Initially even the for the baby vaccine also, initially there was only the thing the parents used to go and they used to simply give vaccine to their children to any type of the hospital. But nowadays, when we are going for the vaccination of the baby, they are giving us one card, and in that card they are recording, as well as they have the record of the municipality. In that also they are noting down that so and so child have been vaccinated. Means when I took my child for his first vaccine, now he is 9 months. When I took him for his first BCG vaccine, that time they were recording it into the, although I have given this vaccine into the private hospital, but I observed that doctor is maintaining the record for the municipality also. So this is what, this is gathering the data that this many child have taken birth in so and so area, and out of that so and so child children have been vaccinated for so and so vaccine. Same way in the pandemic situation now, Covishield, Covaxin, or Sputnik, whatever vaccine or whichever are available. I know this three only available in India. Whatever vaccine you will be taking, you will be getting the vaccine certificate. First vaccine certificate, second vaccine certificate, and thereafter a proper card we will be getting after complete vaccine, or you can say the full vaccination. We will be getting the card. So this is keeping the record, and that is called as the uh, biostatistic that we are making. Also, why they are doing all this, to find out the accurate measure that how many population have been vaccinated, or many other field, drugs, if you are taking any type of the drug. So how to decide the dose. Say example 500 mg paracetamol. So how to decide that this quantity of the drug is required to be administered, and that will be helpful to the human population. So that particular time they do the research, they are doing the studies that how to standardize the drugs for immunization purpose, for drug purpose. That biostatistics we do, as we are doing the research on any type of the drug. So that time, what particular time we do, we take the doses, we take the different doses, that how much dose is ineffective, how much dose is effective, and how much could be the toxic. So for that, whatever studies we are doing, in that the biostatistic play a very important tool. Then when we talk about the doing the census, okay, whether we are doing the plant census, or we are doing the animal census, or the human census. So that particular time, these census are actually impossible without the biostatistic. So biostatistic have a very important role into the management of the population. Most of the principle of biostatistics, these are applied to study changes into the environmental condition, like chemical changes, physical changes, and whatever type of biological changes are happening into the environment, that can be counted very well with the help of the biostatistic. Now see, in SYBSC you will be doing one practical, air microflora. So that particular time, what you will be doing, you will be counting the bacteria, okay, and thereafter you will be taking the proper calculation. You will be doing that this much bacteria are present into the petri dish. That means air might have this many bacteria, and the air is so and so much contaminated with the air microflora. So these are the various statistical tool which help us to find out the environmental condition and all. So this is all about the biostatistic. But if you want to do the overall calculation, you have to select the sample. So sample is a boon of this biostatistic. So how to do the sampling? There are various method of doing the sampling. So today we will be talking about the sampling only. Our lecture will be concentrated on the topic sample. Student, if you feel like that my connection is disrupted or anything happens, so that time immediately make a call to me, okay? So we had already discussed about the population, that it includes all the people or item with having the same characteristic which we want to understand. Now, see, it is not possible to study the entire population, and if suppose if it is possible, that time also it will require lots of efforts to study the whole population. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, student, when we talk about the population, so that particular time, just a minute, someone wants to enter in. So it will take a very large time to study the whole population, or when we do any type of the research, and when we do the study on particular population, so it will take expenses. So it is going to be very expensive to study the whole population, or to get the information of everyone, everything into the population. So at that particular time, what we do, we take the sample. So what is the sample? Sample is a smaller but hopeful representative collection from the population. It is used to determine the truth about that particular population. This is said by the field in the year 2005, that we are taking a population. Suppose if you want to set up one cricket match, so team of Rizvi will go, and they will be the representative. That Rizviites, you might be knowing that they are very much famous. So when they are getting down on the ground for, especially for the cricket, so it is assumed that they are only the winner. So they, why they are considered? So what do you mean by that? That the all student will be that good player? No, it means that whoever is in the field of the cricket in that particular college, they are a very strong team. So they are the sample. Okay. So sample is very important to collect, because it help to manage the resources, time, money, workload, everything. If you will do the research and you will be taking the whole population, it is going to be very difficult. The sample gives the result with known accuracy that can be calculated mathematically. Say example that I have taken the sample of battery dish to study the air microflora. Then that time, that particular knowledge I will be applying to the whole air. So I will be doing the calculation, so that I will be getting the final answer. Sample frame is the list from which the potential response are drawn, like registrar office, class roster. We must assess the sample frame errors. We should take the proper sample, whatever we are taking attendance and all. So all these are the sampling. So simply we can define that we have a target population. I want to study the Indian population. Okay, and I want to know the Indian culture which is found into the Indian population. So I have chosen that India as the whole population. So my target population is the Indian population. But now I cannot roam around the whole India and select the people from the various state. Here my concern is to study the culture. So what I will do, I will take a subset of population, right? That is called as the study population. So I have decided that Mumbai is the place where all type of the culture can be seen very well. So my study population will be the Mumbai population. But do you think that it is feasible to study the whole Mumbaikars? No, it is again a very big city. So what I will do, I have 32 states. So I will take five people of all the states, right? So that means from the Mumbai only I will get my sample. So this way, this is called as the sampling. Now we will be talking about the various types of the sampling. Probability sampling, it is having again many subtypes. Then we have the non-probability sampling. So when we talk about the non-probabilities and probability means this is the method where samples collected that will be include almost all individual in the population which are under the study. Okay, so suppose that if I am staying into the Mumbai and someone is doing the research, so I have the chance that I will be getting selected. And when we talk about the non-probability technique, it means that the sample which are collected will not involve all the individual into the population. It is used for qualitative and pilot study. That means from the population, all the members will not be selected. Only the people those have the desired characteristic. Suppose there is a selection of the cricket team, so that particular time, the people those who knows the cricket, that only will be selected. So every individual will not have a chance to get part to be a sample. Are you following? So let us discuss the various type of the sampling in detail. But before that, we must know the process of the sampling, that how the sampling is been carried out. The sampling process comprises various stages. First, that define the population of concern. That for what study? Suppose population, I told you that it is a homogeneous group of desired character. Then thereafter, you are going to study effect. Sorry, an effect of a drug. So that particular time you will be specifying a sampling frame, then set of the items or event which you are going to measure. Say example that you are giving xyz diet and you are observing its effect on the infants. So here all the infants will be, what are the infants below 1 age, all are going to be your population, right? And you cannot study the babies throughout the world. You have selected one hospital and thereafter you will be giving the that is called as the sampling frame, that you have decided that you will be taking, say example, you are taking children as a sample of those who have born into the Acharya hospital. Then that after you will be setting item or event which are possible to measure. So that time you will be giving the amount of the diet to the babies, and thereafter you will be counting the event or whatever possible measure. Then thereafter we will be specifying a sampling method. Specifying a sampling method, that means I told you that there are the various method of the sampling. So out of that, probability sampling you want to go for, or you want to go for the non-probability, or what type of probability, what type of non-probability sampling you are interested, that will be given for selecting the item or whatever events from the frame. Then thereafter we will be determining the size. Determining size is very important. That maybe in hospital every day 5 to 6 baby are taking birth, but you will be selecting. You will be deciding that every day one baby will be my sample. Then after that, this is the all plan, or you can say the blueprint. We will be implementing the sampling plan. That come on, we will execute the data. Then thereafter we will be doing the sampling, data collecting, and thereafter reviewing the sampling process, that this sampling process is working. Now, sampling frame, it is the most straightforward case. Like whatever you are sentencing the batch material from the production, or whatever possible plan you are making. So it more general case we can making a simply idea that for the example is here given is the forthcoming election. So where voting is not compulsory, so this is we can identify, and as a remedy we seek a sampling frame which has the property that we can identify every single element and we can include any in one our sample. Sampling frame must be representative of the whole population, that you have selected a particular area and this will be part of the whole population. Now, first we will be talking about the probability sampling, as I had already given you that this method where sample collected includes all the individual in the population which is under study. So when we say that every unit is having this greater than zero, that means it is having a chance that to be selected into the sample, and this probability can be accurately determined when every element in the population they have the same probability of the selection. That means everyone have the equal chance to get selected. That's why this particular sampling scheme is also called as the equal probability of the selection design. Such designs are also referred as the self-weighting because all sample units are given having the same weight. It is not considered that so and so will not be selected. So everyone will be having the same. Here, weight means the weightage, that every population is considered as the homogeneous. Now let us discuss about the type of the probability sampling. It includes the simple random sampling, then we have the systemic sampling, then we have the stratified sampling, clustered sampling, then we have the multi-stage sampling, multi-phase sampling. These are the various types, but in our syllabus, only four types are given. First four, probability sampling, it is having the simple random, systemic, then after the systematic, we have the stratified and the cluster sampling. Multi-stage sampling and multi-phase sampling is not with the part of our syllabus. So when we talk about the next type of the sampling, that is the non-probability sampling. So here I have told that every population will not have the chance of selection. Suppose there is one of the singing competition. Okay, so definitely if everyone, if it is a probability sampling, so they will end up in counting the crows only because everyone cannot sing very good, right? So here this particular time the desired trait people are from the population are selected, and from that thereafter sampling. Now see that example we will take as an audition. So in the audition, those who all can sing will be taken, and thereafter they will be applying the sampling method, and thereafter they will be selecting the people from that. So it is the sampling method where some elements of the population will not have any chance of selection. These are sometimes referred as out of coverage or undercovered, where probability of selection can't be accurately determined. So it involves the selection of element on the based on the assumption regarding the population of interest. As I told you now, the population of interest is the good singer. So they will be deciding, and their time we will be selecting that what is the population of our interest, which forms the criteria for the selection. That the criteria is that the student should belong from the FYBSC and they must have the good voice. So hence, because of the selection of element is non-random, non-probability sampling not allows the estimation of the sampling error. So here sampling error, say suppose say example, chances of sampling error is very much high in probability sampling because without knowing any type of um, their property we have chosen them as a sample. So there may be sampling error chances that you have selected, you have applied the variables, and thereafter the variable has failed to give the result. So that is called as the sampling error. But here in this case, in non-probability sampling, the chances of sampling errors are very low. Here one example is given that we visit every household into the given street and interview the first person to answer the door. In any household with more than one occupation, this is non-probability sample because some people are more likely to answer the door. We are pressing the bell or knocking their door, and thereafter we are asking them about their employment. Example, unemployed person who spend more of their time at home is more likely to answer than employed housemate who might have been at work when interviewer were called. So this is not practical to calculate these probabilities, but still one example I have added that we have gone to a particular area and we are just knocking, or you can say the ringing the bell, and thereafter in first knock or first bell, if anyone is opening, so they were asking their occupation, and same way they in the whole street they have done. And after the research that they have found that the people, those who are not having any occupation, they will be just opening the door at the first call. So when we talk about the non-probability sampling, so it includes the accidental sampling, quota sampling, and we have the purposive sampling. In addition, non-response effect may turn any probability design into the non-probability design if characteristic of non-responses are not well understood. Since non-response effect modifies such type of elements into the probability of being sample, so that particular time this non-probability sample becomes very important. Simple random sampling, when we talk about, so see, when we say the non-probability sampling, simple sampling and the random sampling, so it is applicable when population is very much small and it is readily available. So at that particular time, all substance of the frame are given the equal probability. Each element of the frame has an equal probability of selection. So it provides for greatest number of the possible sampling. This is done by simply assigning number to each unit in the sample frame, like giving roll numbers and calling out with the roll number. A table of random number or lottery system can be also used to determine that which units are to be selected, because I told you in the case of the probability sampling, every population have a chance to get selected. So for that particular time, when we do such type of the random sampling, so that particular time it becomes very very important to select each and every element. Student, we will be discussing in detail about the types of uh, various sampling in the next class. For this note, we'll stop simple random sampling. Only we have discussed. Next lecture, we will be starting all the types of the random, this probability and non-probability sampling. So for this note, for today, we'll stop now. Because it is a very big topic, we will not be able to cover it into the one class. Any doubts, student?